At the start of episode 1129, when Bonnie grabs a sword and charges at Saturn, stabbing him and making his beard bleed, everyone from Luffy's group to the Marines is stunned, unable to believe Bonnie dared to do such a thing to one of the five elders. The tension skyrockets and the Vice Admiral reports to the five elders that Saint Saturn has set foot on the island, causing the Marines to be utterly terrified and confused, not understanding when Saint Saturn arrived without their knowledge. The Vice Admiral orders everyone who isn't a Vice Admiral to evacuate the central town to avoid being mistakenly killed by Saint Saturn. The Marines, gripped by fear, run for their lives and don't dare look back. The Vice Admiral commands all Marines on the island not to look at Saturn's face, or they'll all turn to dust. The Marine comrades are in a panic because a saint of the entire world has come all the way here from Mary Geos. All the Marines are dumbfounded. Vegapunk is still in complete shock seeing Bonnie stab one of the five saints of the One Piece world. He's extremely scared and doesn't understand what Bonnie is doing in front of a monster like Saturn. Surely she can't cause him any harm. The Vice Admiral also teleports to where Bonnie is piercing Saturn and can't believe his eyes. One of the five saints of the world is being stabbed by a little brat like Bonnie. He then orders all nearby Vice Admirals to aim at Bonnie and prepare to open fire. All the Vice Admirals are getting ready to attack Bonnie. Sanji is terrified and doesn't know what else to do. Vegapunk tells Bonnie to run away from him because she won't be able to hurt him at all. Bonnie is about to threaten Saturn when he cuts her off. He tells Bonnie to shut up because she's just an insect. His eyes turn red and shoot out a laser. Bonnie, caught off guard, collapses before she can cause any damage to him. While unconscious from the blast, Bonnie is grabbed by him. Sanji, furious seeing the person he likes about to be executed, rushes to save Bonnie and takes a laser hit like hers, leaving him barely alive. The stab that seemed to pierce Saturn's heart turns out to be just a surface wound. He pulls out the sword and the wound heals on its own. Sanji, hit by just one basic attack, is gasping for breath when Luffy's side is at a disadvantage. The Vice Admiral squad seizes the chance to capture Vegapunk as they rush to arrest him. Saturn scolds them as scoundrels for being too eager. Since Luffy's group has nowhere left to escape, let Saturn toy with them. Then he turns to Kizaru, berating him because this isn't Kizaru's usual style and he looks utterly pathetic. Kizaru can only apologize and has no excuses for his uselessness after being beaten to a pulp by Luffy, unable to even move to stand and greet Saint Saturn. It's hilarious that Luffy is also lying nearby, groaning non-stop while in his Nika form. Saturn intends to finish Luffy off, but luckily Franky quickly unleashes his strong right move, punching Luffy to another spot to avoid being killed by Saturn. Saturn praises Franky and right after Franky pulls Luffy back into his hand to ensure the captain's safety. Saturn talks about the appearance of Luffy and Bonnie. He truly didn't anticipate that this battle would involve the two of them, forcing him, one of the five elders, to take the field. Saturn turns to Vegapunk, feeling regret that Vegapunk betrayed him and thanking him for his past contributions to the Marines. Saturn doesn't know who to eliminate and, as a joke, suggests learning everyone's names and eliminating them alphabetically. Saturn wants Vegapunk to feel regret for betraying the world government. Right after saying this, he uses his laser eye move again with Luffy as the chosen target. Even from a distance and in Franky's hands, Luffy is blasted far away. Right after Bonnie wakes up in Saturn's grip, struggling to break free but to no avail. The more she struggles, the tighter Saturn squeezes and she screams in agony. Sanji tries to rush to her rescue but is stopped by Saturn's aura, rendering everyone in Luffy's group unable to move. Even Alas' strength can't budge. Truly, this is the terrifying power of one of the five elders. Vegapunk is certain this is the power of his devil fruit and worries for Bonnie. Bonnie curses Saturn for being the one who killed her father. He explains that her father was a special-class slave of the world government, so his death was an honor. Suddenly, her father's spirit appears, talking about the justice he always aimed for and wanting to be like Nika, the warrior of liberation. Saturn orders all Marines to raise their guns and aim at Bonnie's head. Suddenly, Bonnie recalls images from the past when she and her father were playing together. Sanji and Vegapunk can only scream and beg because Bonnie is still just a child. It seems Bonnie has accepted her fate and closes her eyes, reminiscing about the beautiful childhood memories with her father. The scene shifts to 47 years ago in the Sorbet Kingdom in South Blue, at a small village where Kuma, Bonnie's father, was born. Right after, it seems Kuma had something unusual about him from birth, so his father whispered to the doctor, hoping he wouldn't tell anyone. Kuma's small family was joyful, welcoming baby Kuma into the world. For years after Kuma was born, while Kuma and his family were cooking, the doctor who delivered Kuma rushed in, telling Kuma's father and family to flee because the world government's agents had come to the hospital and interrogated the doctor. They had learned the secret of Kuma's family. Just as he finished speaking, the doctor was kicked by a world government agent for trying to help Kuma's family escape. Those agents drew their guns and threatened Kuma's family to come with them. Despite fighting bravely, Kuma's entire family was captured. His father wailed because only he carried the buccaneer blood, not his wife. He begged the world government to take only him, pleading not to take his wife because she didn't have that blood. He sobbed and begged, only to be punched by them. When the whole family was locked in prison, Kuma remained cheerful, and his mother tried to comfort him that everything would be okay. Tragedy struck when Kuma's family was separated, each locked in a different place. His parents tried to encourage Kuma that they'd soon reunite, though they knew it would never happen, and told him to stay strong. Day after day, though just a child, Kuma was brutally tortured by the celestial dragons. Despite being a kid, he was tormented daily in extreme suffering. One day, after being beaten by the celestial dragons, Kuma reunited with his father and heard the shocking news that his mother had died and was in heaven, tortured to death by the celestial dragons. This scene is incredibly emotional, so watch the anime directly because it will make you cry. His father began encouraging Kuma that someone would free him, and that was the legendary warrior Nika, passed down in the buccaneer tribe. Kuma's father believed that one day Nika would come and take Kuma out to freedom. Thanks to his father's encouragement, young Kuma smiled and found the motivation to keep living. But before the joy could last, his father was shot dead by a celestial dragon for making noise. Kuma's fate was utterly tragic. 38 years ago, when Kuma had grown up in West Blue, the celestial dragons were holding a perverse tournament called the Native Hunting Competition on God Valley Island. They treated the island's people and even the king as their property for easy slaughter. When the king of the land argued with them about justice, he was immediately slashed and killed by Garling. All the perverse celestial dragons cheered wildly. Right after, grown-up Kuma broke his cage and officially escaped from the perverse celestial dragons. The announcement of his escape rang out. Kuma could only walk and cry in the fields, but soon after, he was recaptured by the same prisoners who were with him. He could only cry and scream in despair. The moment Kuma was caught was the first time Saturn heard about this child, a buccaneer. While Kuma was being dragged back by the other slaves for daring to escape, he encountered a young Emporio Ivankov and his sister. Emporio Ivankov was surprised to find a boy with giant-like blood like Kuma. Ivankov cursed the slaves as pathetic for not knowing how to enjoy life. Ivankov and Ginny told the slaves about the Revolutionary Army's plan and chose to live, leaving Kuma wide-eyed for finding the truth of his life. Episode 1129 ends there. Thank you all for following, and don't miss episode 1130 of One Piece.
Today, I'll continue with the events of episode 1130. It kicks off with the legendary battle between Rock Roger and Garp at God Valley. The hunt erupts amidst the corruption of those filthy scoundrels. The people are in a panic, fleeing for their lives, while those monsters are only focused on hunting 150 rare rabbits, not to mention the 13 ultra-rare ones, each worth 10,000 points. They've even set a rule: if you take one down in a single shot, you get a chance at a premium reward for the winner. This year's competition also includes the Man-Mayor clan, who are desperate to claim the championship title. One of them warns Garling not to delude himself into thinking he can win easily. A few overly excited celestial dragons fire their guns even though the hunt hasn't officially started. One by one, slaves fall right in front of their loved ones. And that's not even counting the 200 despicable nobles joining this twisted game for their amusement. They have just 1 hour before the hunt begins, so they have to run like rabbits. At Navy headquarters, Garp is annoyed. He's supposed to be on vacation, but Kong wants him to head to some remote island to fight. Kong can't explain why, but he's practically begging because they desperately need Garp there. Though there's no solid information yet, if the threat is real, it's a disaster waiting to happen. Garp doesn't care, it's just an outing for the celestial dragons, and if they get into trouble, why should it concern him? He warned them not to mess with that hornet's nest. It's the treasure of the pirate island. If they take it, of course, the pirates will come to take it back. Kong doesn't know where Garp heard this wild story, but Garp laughs heartily, pointing out that Kong has so many spies watching him, so why should he be afraid? That's when Kong admits there's something he hadn't considered. Roger has already made his move. Hearing that name, Garp reacts strongly, wanting to head there immediately. At Hakinosu, the pirate island in the New World, when word spreads that JX has set sail, other pirates hurriedly follow suit. At Godvi, the hunt officially begins. Kuma gets an arrow in his back but keeps going without stopping. They temporarily escape to a safe spot near the coast. Here, Yen has never seen so many warships surrounding an island. Ivan is certain no one can leave this place alive. And this cruel truth will never be erased from history. The celestial dragons aim at human targets without hesitation, all for entertainment and to seize resources. 100,000 lives are treated as rabbits in this unjust hunt. They claim they'll let everyone go if they survive 3 weeks until the festival ends. But that's a lie. Nobody has ever survived the previous hunts. After all, what fun would it be for them to kill someone who's given up in despair? They want their prey to hold on to hope and run, making the hunt truly thrilling. Slaves will never win in this dirty game, so the focus is on escaping. Meanwhile, Garling racks up 100,000 points in one swift move with his cold-blooded sword. His strategy is to target the high-value ones. On the other side, Ivan gets a fishman with powerful shark jaws to bite through his chains. After being thanked, the fishman is overjoyed, saying he's never been praised like that in his life. Jeannie is worried because she intentionally leaked information. But neither the pirates nor the Navy have acted yet. The tournament's prize is the key to their victory, one of the most powerful devil fruits. If they eat it, they could transform into a dragon, and another fruit, the Nikyu Nikyu no Mi, can teleport people to other islands. If any of them can eat one of these fruits, they might escape the island and the Navy's blockade. However, some slaves think it's impossible since the prizes are kept at the island's center. To reassure everyone, Jeannie reveals she's a master thief with exceptional eavesdropping skills. 2 weeks ago, she deliberately leaked this information, certain that pirates have taken notice. But Jeannie emphasizes that a plan like this requires someone to act as bait to distract the celestial dragons. Suddenly, Kuma volunteers. He believes his large body will help him survive longer than others. Plus, he doesn't want to see anyone here die when they're all fighting to live. With those powerful words, Ivan laughs heartily, promising they'll escape together. Suddenly, Navy ships explode off the coast. The Navy discovers the Rock's pirates approaching from the eastern shore and trembles in fear. Overwhelmed by these infamous pirates. Caught off guard by this unannounced attack, the Navy chaotically fires back with cannons. But how can they compete against the world's most notorious pirates? Whitebeard is furious, demanding to know since when he's been considered Rock's subordinate. Shiki declares that whoever finds the treasure first gets to keep it. Big Mom and Kaido are equally certain the treasure is theirs. Whitebeard thinks Rox is a fool who'll lose sight of the goal and insists on checking the treasure first. Shiki angrily tells Whitebeard to back off, annoyed at him acting like the leader. Big Mom advises both to grab the treasure and leave quickly, no daydreaming. Kaido, with a serious expression, prepares to face Roger, the one he most wants to fight. This is their decisive battle, a day to settle the score. When word spreads that the Rock's pirates have landed, the celestial dragons panic, fearing for their safety. Another report comes in, more notorious pirates are converging from all directions. The Navy can't believe how their classified information leaked. Roger's ship is heading straight for the island's western shore. Roger can't contain his excitement, having waited for this moment all year. Gabon reminds Roger not to pull the captain card for special treatment. At Garling's position, he orders all troops to retreat and protect the celestial dragons, with the remaining holy knights ready to fight. A knight behind him feels humiliated that the Navy's warships surrounding the island are useless. The slaves, meanwhile, have no idea what's happening. Suddenly, a report comes in, Vice Admiral Garp's reinforcements have arrived, boosting the Navy's morale. Garp is thrilled, asking for Roger's exact location. Meanwhile, Ivan and Kuma seize the chaos to steal the 2 devil fruits. Not knowing which is which, Ivan tells Kuma to just eat one. But as Kuma puts it in his mouth, Big Mom charges in, shoving Ivan aside to snatch the dragon fruit. As she tries to take Kuma's fruit too, Ivan stops her, urging Kuma to eat it quickly to survive. Without hesitation, Kuma devours the devil fruit. Ivan tells him that even saving one person from this island would be a victory. Suddenly, Saturn attacks, sending Kuma flying. He threatens Kuma, saying a slave's life is either servitude or death, nothing else awaits a lowlife like him, as time has already decided his fate. Kuma struggles to his feet, asking Saturn if he's someone important. He can't understand why some are born important while slaves are born meaningless. If he had any power, Kuma says, he'd use it to save as many people as possible, like the god Nika. Saturn's face darkens, revealing that Kuma's clan was targeted for destruction because of that name. But the fateful events on this island will soon be buried in the darkness of history. Not long after, in the southern Sorbet Kingdom, the authorities only dare report Garp's heroic actions. The tabloid reporter Morgan is no better than a conman, printing only what the world's big shots want to hear. In the end, no one knows the true details of the legendary battle that took place on the island that day. Ivan asks Kuma how long he plans to keep praying, while Kuma blames himself for not saving more people. Ivan thinks Kuma's being ridiculous. He saved over 500 people in that chaos. Kuma's hands now bear bear-like pads, which he believes are the hands of a warrior of liberation. Like Nika, Ivan is amazed to learn Kuma's family ran a church, explaining his kind nature. With that, Ivan grabs his bag and sets sail to find his own freedom. Kuma vows never to forget Ivan's face as long as he lives. Jeannie chooses to stay with Kuma, unsure of what she wants to do with her life. Ivan bids them farewell and sails off. Seizing the moment, Jeannie tells Kuma to call her big sister since she's 4 years older. She declares she'll find a way to make money to support her giant little brother. But after struggling to lift an axe, she leaves the wood chopping to Kuma. They sell the firewood in town, escaping their old life of wandering and thievery. On their way back, 2 kids block their path, throwing stones, refusing to believe Kuma is only 9. Jeannie loses her temper and teaches them a lesson. But with his kind heart, Kuma uses his powers to heal them and explains that Jeannie is actually very kind. Once their pain is gone, the kids see Kuma as a magician. Back home, they eat cake together. Jeannie, tiny as she is, devours a plate and still isn't full, so Kuma gives her his share. Watching her eat so eagerly, Kuma teases her about her bottomless stomach. When Jeannie asks, she learns Kuma was enslaved at 4, just like her. After eating their fill, Jeannie suddenly bursts into tears, overwhelmed by a sense of peace and happiness. Kuma recalls happy times with his parents and can't hold back his own tears. Though his parents are gone, he now has a new sister to share his joys. Seeing Jeannie cry, Kuma cries loudly too, releasing all the pain of his past, and that's the end of episode 1130. See you next Sunday night. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and support me. Thanks, love you all.